Next, we have our link content types. So these are your links to external websites or to your web-based sessions like Zoom, WebEx, GoToMeeting, whatever. Anything that is able to generate a URL, that's a web-based session. So regardless of what it is, whether it's a website or a web-based session, you need to grab that URL and put it into here. Make sure that you are putting in the full string, that you're not cutting anything off. That way you won't get an error message. Same thing with the download files. You have the ability to set the target, or how do you want this website to open up in the actual live site. So same options. If you were to set this to normal, then the website would open up in another tab or browser. If the website were set to iframe, then the site would open up in that self-contained window or iframe. For this content type, the best practice that we advise is the same. As much as you can have things open up in an iframe, that is just the most ideal experience. Now, the problem with your link content types is that unfortunately, not all websites are coded properly to open in an iframe. So for example, social media websites like LinkedIn or Facebook, those definitely do not open up in iframes because they are not coded compatibly. So when it comes to deciding the target for your links, it's really a matter of trial and error. Go ahead and put in your link here, your URL here, and automatically set the target to iframe. Then when your QC period comes around and it's time for you to test your room, just remember to actually go back and test all of your links. Test that they are indeed able to successfully open up in an iframe. If you find out that they're not, which is a very likely possibility for some of those sites, then you have two options. You can either change the URL to something else that will suffice for what you're trying to achieve, then test it again until you find something that works. Otherwise, if the link is really critical and you really want your attendees to view it, then you have no choice really but to set the target to normal, and that will simply just open up that site in a separate tab. When it comes to your web-based session, so again, this is like Zoom or WebEx, you will create that actual session in the native sites. If, for example, I have a Zoom session, I will create that session in Zoom. I will generate the URL. Then I'll paste the URL in here. Then when it comes to my target, I will actually leave it as normal. And this is my advice for any web-based sessions. The reason for that is, for web-based sessions, the user is typically prompted to download a desktop client into their computer. The reason why is because that desktop client will optimize their experience of that software. Now, if you have the target set to iframe, then that's going to make that download very difficult or impossible. Okay, so just to be safe, just in case that download does trigger for the user, make sure that you set the target to normal. And this is for your web-based sessions. Now, a note about iframes. For the content items where you can have them open in iframes, you will have the ability to set the window dimensions as well, or the exact width and height. I advise that you just leave these blank. Leaving the width and height at 0 will automatically trigger that iframe to open up in the most ideal maximum viewing size for the user. So it's just best to leave that blank.